Courtney Cox here with Zach Cox at Gillette Stadium as the Pats roll to a 33-3 win over the Steelers. I say 33-3. So let's talk about defense because they had held a pretty good Steelers team to only 3 points.
Absolutely. This is a defense that's been getting a lot of hype over this entire preseason, this entire training camp, this whole summer. This is usually a defense that kind of thrives on being underrated. They were getting kind of the deserved hype going into this season, and they lived up to it today. I mean, like you said, this is still a pretty talented Pittsburgh Steelers team. They don't have Antonio Brown anymore, but they do have Juju Smith-Schuster. They do have James Conner. They do have Ben Roethlisberger, very good offensive line, and they just looked inept tonight against this Patriots defense. I mean, especially the Patriots secondary. The Patriots secondary was thoroughly impressive here tonight. Devin McCourty had an interception. There were 8 other pass breakups in the game. Stephon Gilmore really blanketed Juju Smith-Schuster for most of this night. Pass rush wasn't super productive in this game, but it didn't really need to be just with how well the players were playing behind him. So overall, very, very strong first performance for this defense.
You talk about Stephon Gilmore. He was asked after, what does this do for confidence for a team, this type of win? For him, he said they have to do a lot of things better going forward. For you, what are those things?
Well, the pass rush there is one thing that I did mention. They only had 1 sack on Ben Roethlisberger. They did get into the backfield a good amount, but it wasn't one of those games like we saw in the preseason against the Carolina Panthers where Cam Newton was just running for his life the entire time. Overall, though, I think it's more on just sort of building on this performance because this is a different kind of performance than we've seen from Patriots defense to start seasons. Normally, it's the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season. The defense plays terrible. Everybody freaks out. Everybody says that this defense isn't Super Bowl caliber. They can't win with this team. Then they sort of round into form in late October, early November, and they're fine for the duration. Tonight, they came out and they were dominant from the jump. Can they keep this up? Can they keep this moving forward? They have a pretty favorable schedule going forward. They play a lot of teams over the next 6-7 weeks that were not in the playoffs last year that are expected to be among the worst teams in the NFL this year. So can they keep this momentum going? That's what I'm going to be looking for.
Overall first impression on this Patriots team?
Got to be positive. I mean, just look at the scoreline, 33-3. The offense was very productive. The running game was left a little bit to be desired. They're going to have to do some shuffling on the offensive line now, especially if Marcus Cannon seemed to suffer some sort of, it was announced as a shoulder injury. If that's long-term, that could be a bit of an issue. But overall, this Patriots team, this was about as good of a debut as you could have asked for them.
Yeah, I'm Miami. I am nervous going into next weekend, which
Absolutely.
You will be at. So make sure to follow along with Zach at Zach Cox Nesson and keep it on Nesson.com. We will have all your coverage leading up to the game and down in Miami.